Mask is the 1994 smash hit film dealing with the life and times of a man called Stanley Ipkiss, who becomes this comedy central type of hero who purposefully sets out to take apart the crime syndicate in his uh, local town, Edge City. Let us now consider several facts about this film that makes it a really great film for anyone to want to watch, shall we? We shall start with this very first thing that I've outlined, which is the actor who portrays both Stanley Ipkiss and The Mask. That is none other than Jim Carrey, who I believe is one of the greatest actors of today's acting world scene. This guy is amazing because he is so versatile in every single approach. But for the sake of what we are considering, we're just going to consider how he portrays himself in this film in a dual identity role, or you could say two different personalities. On one side of it, you've got Stanley Ipkiss, who is a down to earth, everyday kind of person who is just simply living to get through the day. He's the character of this one is perfectly played by Jim Carrey in the more somber type of setting. Whereas on the other side of things, you've got The Mask, which was likewise perfectly played by Jim Carrey, with all its the bombacity that Jim Carrey, as a great stand-up comedy, puts forth in this particular role. There we have these dual, uh, dual personality traits being put forth by one person, Jim Carrey, in this film. Let's just give a little background, shall we, to Jim Carrey. As I said, he's a stand-up comedian, and he is also a great actor. He's been in several other films over the years that he's been acting, such as Ace Ventura 1 and 2, Liar Liar, The Grinch, and many others. I've, this is what I believe is perfectly fine for this section. Let us now come to the cast impossibilities and the final cast as we see in the film. Dealing with the first part. For the role of Stanley Ipkiss, there were three likely candidates before the final casting of Jim Carrey, and they are as follows: Rick Moranis, Martin Short, and Robin Williams. And if it wasn't Jim Carrey, any one of these three would have been great candidates, particularly that of Rick Moranis and Robin Williams. There are a couple of other people that have had some kind of linking to the film for this particular character as well, such as Nicolas Cage and Matthew Broderick. But with these two, or of these two, I think Nicolas Cage might be the better of the two, simply because of him being so on par with Jim Carrey in terms of being a character actor. And if you've watched any of uh, Nicolas Cage's films outside of Con Air, you would see how that possible choice would actually be more bene- beneficial. Now for the role of Tina. Before the casting of Cameron Diaz, there was one other person that was in view, and that was Nicole Smith, Anna Nicole Smith. So there's the possibilities for the lead character and the love interest. So what about the actual casting outside of those two people that I mentioned? That would be Jim Carrey and Cameron Diaz. Who else have we got in this film that makes it a great film to watch? Well, Peter Riegler is as Lieutenant Mitchell Kellaway. Peter Green as Dorian Tyrell. That would be the mafia boss. Then you have Amy Yasbeck as Peggy Grant. That would be the reporter. Richard Jenny Osterius Matasina. Not a whole lot of people that are really known, I would guess you could say, but for this particular film, each and every one of the cast really drilled together to make it a great adaptation of the original comic, as I mentioned in the intro. Let us now let us now turn to the next point, which is the budget and income. For the budget, there was a great sum of money put towards the film, from anywhere from between 18 million to 23 million. But now let's consider the income, the gross, what was brought in through all the different types of sales. That would be 352 mil. For this, what we have is just a simple breakdown, which is this. Domestically or home in America, it was 119 million. But worldwide, in every other country outside of America, such as here in England, we have a further 2,039, 239 million that was gathered, and this really shows the success of this particular film, a comedy stroke here, a comedy centrally focused film. So now let's come to another point. Now, because of the runaway success of this film, there was commissioned and greenlit a few other things in the process. One of these was an animated series that spanned from the time period of 95 through to 96, with Rob Paulsen as Stanley Ipkiss and his alter ego The Mask, and Neil Ross as Calloway. Ben Stein reprised his role as Dr. Newman. This series lasted for the episode count of 54. So let me just make a point here. Rob Paulson, who's voiced Stanley and Mask, is well known for several different shows that he's voiced over the years, such as The Adventures of Johnny Quest in 86 to 87, The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest in 96 and 97. He voiced Raphael in the original Turtles cartoon from 87 to 96. PJP in Goof Troop in 92. The Goof Movie in 95. An extremely goofy movie in 2000. Cinderella 2 and 3 in 2002 and 2007, Mac in the Looney Tunes show from 2011 to 13, and Looney Tunes Rabbit's Run in 2015. Alongside that mention of Raphael from the Turtles where he voiced him, he also voiced Donatello in 2012's series which ran for 5 seasons and 124 episodes from 2012 to 2017. And he reprised his role as Raphael in multiple 87 to 2012 crossover episodes. So there's the voice actor to the cartoon version of Stanley Ipkiss in The Mask. On top of this, we also have another important Mask related point, and that is there was also another Mask related film called The Son of the Mask, which was a sequel which was released in 2005, and it had Jamie Kennedy as Tim Avery, Bob Hoskins, Taylor Howard, Cole Penn, Steve Wright, Ben Stein. So there's another interesting factor that there was a spin-off film called The Son of the Mask. So final thoughts on this film called The Mask. I would say here in kind of the response to the film in its original time period of 1994, there were multiple positive uh, reviews from the critics, and I wholeheartedly agree. I think this is a great movie and one that I would heartily recommend to anyone who loves the movies in general, but in particular the comedy variation of the superhero genre.